Hello and welcome, Rangers. I'm Joe here from my co-host Dan.
Hello and greetings.
We decided to go a little early, about an hour early, I think, because the idea is that there's something I have to get to at around 4 today. So, yeah, we have to start early. Sorry about that, everyone. I'm probably going to have to repeat myself if anyone at all shows up in the stream or in the chat, I mean. So here we are about to celebrate Kimberly up to the power, up to the power transfer. So that's something because that's basically season 1 Kimberly. A character who got a ton of early character development, then had it retconned out in season 3. Yeah. Kimberly is, I'm not going to lie, probably the most interesting character of the first season. The amount of development she gets is just kind of mind-numbing to an extent. And Kim is, let's be honest, a great character. And what's interesting is that the 90s came out with a lot of interesting female characters, or semi-interesting ones. Most of them in the sword and sorcery or fantasy kind of genre or horror or something. Like you had Buffy, you had Xena, and Xena was well written, to be sure. I never really took to Buffy. I just found the show's premise not really my cup of tea, even though I loved horror and vampires. That being said, the series got a large following because people really took to it. So, and it's vampires. Like, who doesn't like vampires? Oh, and we've got Austin McNeil. Hey, guys, how have you been? Good. How are you, Mr. McNeil? Oh, I guess I should turn the question over to you.
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, especially since the snow at the end of the driveway is melting.
Yeah.
Anyways, we got a sudden snowstorm the other day, but we're good. Temporarily knocked out a bit of the internet, but we survived somehow.
Yeah.
I just know it got knocked out because my Storyfire upload completely halted the other day.
Boy.
But on the bright side, I still got it uploaded.
True.
Later. Oh, we have
Danger Woman.
Oh, this is someone new. Hello, there is one superheroine that you missed, gentlemen. Oh, and who would that be? I swear, if it's the early 90s Wonder Woman runs that you're going to mention, yes, they were awesome. I know. I read that 50th anniversary Wonder Woman issue part of it at one point. And I don't remember everything, but man, was it good. Man, was that a good run. The only thing, and I like that the guy tried to turn into an event on why she's the leader of the Justice League and why she's so important. But the next few writers really wanted to butcher the character. But yeah, there's Xena, there's Buffy, there's Sabrina the Teenage Witch, I think. If you want the romantic genre. Actually, Sabrina the Teenage Witch was a really great series. But Kimberly was really I find the most impressive character. And of these leading ladies. I'm doing great. I'm getting ready for Once and Always and Cosmic Fury. Okay, I don't know anything about Cosmic Fury. Like I said,
we've generally cut off at the end of the Saban era.
Yeah. Well, yeah, except for Dino Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
Where are my manners, gentlemen? I am Danger Woman, Power Ranger ally. Oh, well, good for you.
Greetings.
Greetings, Ranger. We're pretty much just the Power Rangers corner, a small corner of the internet dedicated to Power Rangers. And, the greatest superhero franchise to ever exist. And yes, we're fairly biased. I mean, I think Grimdark, the best Conan channel, better than ours, who once said that every franchise, every story ever written has its own destiny, just like nations and individuals. And if it becomes damaged or otherwise goes down the toilet, then that was its destiny. It wasn't meant to survive. And it wasn't meant to become anything other than what it was. And he spoke in regards to Conan, the Barbarian, a character who survived about a century of, after Howard, really bad stories, and some great ones, to become probably the greatest fantasy icon. And the thing is, I think Power Rangers is in a similar position. I was Jason David Frank's contact in Atlanta,
Georgia.
Oh, okay, thank you, Dan. I didn't recognize the GA. USA. Oh, well, that's incredible.
Welcome to the channel.
GDF and Stan Lee, and I mentioned Stan Lee because he did help market Power Rangers at one point. These two really carried Power Rangers forward, along with others like Karen Ashley, and even Walter Jones. Walter Jones has marketed other seasons. Like, I really love that man. But GDF really carried the franchise on his very broad, very super shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And no one did more for this community than him. And I'll just say this, whether you're religious or not, God rest his soul, or whatever religion you believe in, hopefully, we all know he's in the afterlife. He's in a better place, I hope, because he did such...
He's an inspiration to us all.
Yeah. But getting back to Kimberly started off not the main character. Oh, I have known about the team up with myself, Jason and Stanley. Oh
yeah. Nice.
Very nice. Stanley was, Stan the man for a reason. Very impressive man. Actually, you look up his life story. It's pretty impressive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, throat. But anyways, we're going to run through Kimberly and her arc during the first season because, she was an impressive character. And the 90s had some great female leads, some great female characters. I got to be part of it. Oh, that's quite the honor.
Yeah.
So obviously more accomplished than us in terms of the Power Ranger franchise and overall probably.
And I hope to see you in the future. Once more, Danger Woman.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to get the insight of someone who's kind of in the business and who is familiar with how the franchise was built up and whatnot. We look at it from the perspective of fans. You obviously are somewhat of an insider or whatever.
And I like your name.
Yeah,
Danger Woman sounds like a really superhero.
Like a 50s golden age thing or 40s golden age. Yeah.
And the golden age, there are some really good stories.
Yeah. I had a crush on Kim, and this is my own personal opinion. Even though Tommy and Kim were a great couple, but my opinion that Jason and Kim should have been a couple in the series. Gonna strongly disagree, but okay. Funny enough, as a kid growing up, I did not have a crush on Kim. I liked her as a character, but I thought, Dan had a crush on her. I weirdly, not weirdly, I ended up weirdly developing, I got a crush on Karen Ashley's Aisha, weirdly enough, as a kid. And when you mentioned Kimberly, I remember that she unmasked me and the other Rangers were shocked. What? Oh, cool. But yeah, I had a crush on Aisha growing up. Remember that?
Yeah.
Just to be honest, and a little blunt, we grew up in a French semi-native, semi-white community that didn't have too many black kids, so this was strange to me. We did have a few Asians though, and so seeing someone so beautiful who was African American was, it took me by surprise. But Kimberly and continue that statement, please. I'm very keen to see what. Yeah, but Kim had a lot of male fans. I ran into a few women. I think at the last convention we went to, like almost 10 years ago. I remember someone. I think it was a woman who mentioned she liked Kimberly, and it was Kimberly. Let's be honest, has a lot of fans, and it's with good reason. Sabrina the Teenage Witch got this lengthy arc over the course of like 7 or 8 seasons. Xena got a lot of character development over the course of several seasons. And Buffy evidently did. But Kimberly got crammed in almost a couple of seasons worth of character growth into one season. And the second season doesn't slow down for her either. She, in terms of female Power Rangers, I don't think there's any female Power Ranger who got the kind of arc she did. She went from a zero, in a way, to, someone who believes herself to be a dumb valley girl, to being arguably the co-leader of the Power Rangers alongside Tommy.
It's like I'm trying to rack my brain over other female characters that have pretty much had such presence in their series. The only one that comes close in my eyes is Kira.
Yeah, she was obviously kind of the leader of her circle to an extent. Kim weirdly, like, she's obviously dating Tommy, and the pairing had a lot of chemistry. But she's dating him at the same time that she's helping lead alongside him. So the overall arc is even more impressive in some ways. And at least Aisha was a good schoolmate, and she and Kimberly, along with the other Rangers, that their special education classmate was stationed. Ha ha. Okay. But without further ado, let's get on with our actual notes. Now that the preamble's kind of finished, now we've changed the screen to our notes, so we're going to be a little slower with the chat here. Just please bear with us. Like all the Rangers, she selected during Day of the Dumpster, which
the characters were essentially initially more
teenagers with attitude.
Archetypal. For example, Jason was the more physical.
He was a warrior.
He was the warrior. You had Billy, that was the nerd. Trini, that was the.
They later keep the archetypes with the next lineup, but it's different. And Kimberly initially is just the
90s Valley girl,
but she kind of, in traditional archetype, goes on to basically become probably the queen archetype in a way. What I mean by that is she's got the aspect of the warrior, the magician, the lover, as well as the kind of queen of love in traditional medieval literature, where the knight will have to fight for her honor and dignity, which you see that happen quite a few times in the form of Tommy and even his ancestors or whatever, with other individuals doing so out of genuine respect for her honor as the queen of sorts. Whereas Tommy battles because he's essentially the king archetype in a way, and he's fighting because, ship. But in teamwork, Kimberly and Trini have to team up and they want to close down a hazardous waste dump. I don't see why they'd want to get rid of it. I'm joking. Rita Repulsa wants to, she's just wants to automatically gainsay against them, and it just turns into a mess for Rita as her monster is destroyed from the power blaster, which is the combination of all the weapons. This episode just introduces, I think, just the Kim Trini team up. But the dynamic isn't cemented until a bit later. Different Drum has Kimberly teaching a dance class at the juice bar. So here we're introduced to the fact that Kim likes dancing. So she's primarily a dancer and a gymnast. So yeah, she's pretty much introduced as the girl in a way. And it's funny because it seems like later the writers kind of fell back onto that. And some fans, not all, some fans came to believe that's all there was to the character. In reality, Kimberly stopped really being just a girl or whatever, or like a love interest character. Because really, she becomes the main character because she gets the most amount of episodes early on. And I forget what we ended up doing as our overall tallied number, but we do have a video where we get into who really stole the show and how Jason was relegated to I don't want to say background character, but the one who stole the show from under his feet was Kimberly. And that it wasn't Tommy who stole the show from Jason, but really Kimberly. And Kim's a great character, but there was so much focus put on her. Amy Jo Johnson was obviously from the start a really talented actress, and so they really wanted to focus on her. But the problem is that some of the other characters, like Trini and Jason, began losing out. That being said, The funniest early episode is probably Power Ranger Punks. I really like that episode. And she probably has some of the most early episodes. I'm just looking through our notes. Yeah, Foul Place in the Sky. Let's not even get into that. And you have switching places where Billy and Kim switch minds. This episode's actually interesting.
Mhm.
I'm going to say, I think we rated it badly, but in hindsight, it's the first hint to there possibly being more to Kim. While, like, it shows that, I'm just saying, like, okay, so Billy does not believe he can be cool or hip. That's what the Power Ranger Punks and Switching Places reveal to him. Like, he can, he doesn't need, he can't, if he works on himself, he can be appealing to the opposite gender, and he can be, he doesn't need, he can focus on more than just his brains while still being successful. Kim learns that there's more to her than her looks. And so, she starts to focus afterwards more on her brains and whatnot. And you do see her kind of try to use her brain and try to help out in a different way with Green with Evil. But I'll get to that in a minute. We have someone new here. Lloyd John Lyon. Kimberly in season 1 and 2, by season 3, Kimberly didn't want to give it her all. So that's where she fooled you all because everyone favors Kat. But if you watched it all the way through, Kimberly, I guess. I really like the idea that she might have wanted to give it her all. But yeah, I guess that's one explanation. I'm just sore because I like both Kim and Kat. Speaking of, I'll do it in order. Speaking of Kat, when she was in Kat, okay, that's weird. I got her a bowl of milk. Okay. It's much better than Kat. Guess Kimberly doesn't want to give it 100% because she'll be giving it to the franchise. But if it was 2 Pink Rangers, Ranger is the original pink. Well,
to quote Zordon,
too much pink energy is dangerous.
Yeah.
Let's see. Not only that, but just calm down. Perfectly. Okay, Danger Woman. You're the real hero. Well, yeah, I just find that there was terrible writing throughout season 3. You look at Lord Zed, Rita, even Tommy at a few points. It was just, season 3 was not a good time. It was not a good time. And yeah, but the thing is, at least in Zeo, we got the Rocky and we got those Cat episodes. Cat and Rocky stole the show in Zeo from what I remember. And it's one of those things where Zeo at least had something to look forward to. Turbo, you did have a lot to look forward to. And obviously the first seasons were darn near perfect. In space, well, there was quite a bit to look forward to. Same with Lost Galaxies and Lightspeed Rescue. Kat became, well, hopefully she was suitably grateful. That said, Green with Evil introduces Kim's love interest. Her arm candy. You might be familiar with him, Tommy. I'm kidding. I had to troll there. But in all seriousness, this episode continues going with the idea that Kim's, just the girl character. But on the other hand, Amy Jo Johnson does give it the role enough gravitas when she has to try to appeal to Tommy to turn away from Rita. And of course, you get some pretty funny dialogue, such as Tommy at one point telling her, well, he's under the possession. Newsflash, Kimberly, the whole world doesn't revolve around you, or something like that. And you have Kim, well, excuse me for existing. Which is just sorry.
So melodramatic.
Yeah, but that was part of the charm of Kim.
Yeah,
She was a great character.
and even watching it today, Kim does help immerse ourselves in the 90s the feel of
Yeah, she's integral. Green with Evil pretty much ends with, well, the most noteworthy part is how Kim is the one constantly trying to reach out to Tommy. And it is to Kim, I think, that Tommy looks to when Jason says, join us. And, like it's Kim and Billy, I think, who are the first to react positively and try to encourage him. And Jason, of course, is the first to offer that forgiving hand, that helping hand. And so we do have to give Jason a lot of credit for the redemption of Tommy and for helping pull him out from the hole Tommy was in emotionally. Although that said, this friendship kind of becomes a poison chalice for both men in that the green powers comes back to haunt the two continuously throughout Mighty Morphin. The Spitflower is when we start to see that Tommy really he's really smitten with Kim. And the reason I say, yeah, we kind of knew from Green with Evil with how the whole love at first sight between him and Kim. But the other factor was that he works on the float for her after she's crushed by it being broken. And you also have the Wheel of Misfortune where Tommy tries to reassure Kimberly. Now, the family heirloom thing shows, I think, a possible German ancestress or Dutch ancestress for Kim. At least I think with her grandmother. And the only reason I suspect maybe German or Dutch is because those sort of spinning wheels are kind of reminiscent of a more Germanic ancestry. And I am looking at it somewhat in stereotype and traditional archetype to an extent, because if you look at a lot of fairy stories, the spinning wheel is an integral part to some German stories. And we have Calamity Kimberly, one of the best episodes. Now this episode, I just love how Kim just has such a bad day, and then she just goes, "Oh God, no!" When she sees Tommy, oh please no. The only time she did not want him to be around, but it is an interesting episode because Tommy soon tries to make her feel better. And here we really got a sense of Tommy's character. He's just, as a Green Ranger, he's just there as the lover archetype. He's not really the warrior. And his main role is basically to be the love interest of Kimberly. He is the prize, just as Baron in some ways is the prize for Luthien from the Silmarillion. So, and I know that not everyone might be on board with that kind of statement, but it's kind of true, at least for Green Ranger days. And I imagine the chat's probably continued. Guessing you favor New Rangers because the way the Pink Ranger was introduced is embarrassing. But you favor Cat. I completely understand, but the same reason people dislike Kimberly, same thing Cat did. I guess. Actually, I kind of prefer Kimberly to Cat. And I just think Cat was a good character in Zeo. And that said, I do prefer the Stone Canyon trio to the first trio, although I do have a soft spot for Zach. And even Jason and Trini were good characters.
Yeah.
But as for, I was never really on board with kicking Billy off the team. But
that makes two of us.
Yeah. But that said, if you dislike Cat, that's fine. I'll just check this. Playing Damsel in Distress in Turbo Movie. That doesn't make Cat the better Pink. Yeah, fair. No, I never said she was the better Pink.
No. They were both good characters in different ways.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think there should have ever been a Tommy Cat romance.
Yeah, because it relegated Cat to Kim 2.0 or Kim Light.
Yeah.
Which, sure.
The actress herself, I think, mentioned once that she made the suggestion that Cat should be paired with either Jason, Adam, or Rocky, or even Billy. And perhaps one of those pairings would have been better for the character. And it would have probably helped smooth things out. Tommy, I don't think should have ever gotten that stupid letter episode. And if you actually watch the Turbo movie, Tommy is more fixated on Kimberly. And there's a moment when Kim gives him the helmet where just when you look at literature in an archetypal way and in a classic lit type of way, that moment kind of, there's almost no other way of looking at it other than as the Tom. No, I think Kat gives the helmet, but there's still a moment between Kim and Tommy. And it seems, like you have to look at it as a Tommy Kim thing and as the character returning to his roots to an extent. I myself find the Tommy Cat thing hard to get behind. And the cat being a damsel thing, I just find irritating. Then again, I dislike it even more that Kim was relegated to damsel in season 3. I hated that. But in my opinion, the pink mantle would be, how do I word it? The cat did well with the mantle in Zeo, but this Kim Cat thing would probably prove like it'd finally be put behind everyone with Cassie. Get it? But same reason people dislike Kim is because new Pink Ranger copied the original Amateur. Yeah, I get that. Like, this is why I liked Cassie, because there was no
a lot of the baggage was essentially
dropped. Yeah.
And sure, there was a transition between Turbo and the OG Rangers and the Turbo or In Space Rangers.
But it doesn't seem... Okay, for me, it did not feel like it had the same kind of baggage. Then again, I was very fond of TJ. He was initially my favorite Power Ranger as a kid.
He was a great Ranger. And honestly, I'd like to see more of him.
Yeah. Selwyn Ward, I think it is, he's such an underrated actor. And I've seen him in podcasts and whatnot. He's funny. He's really funny. Oh, we have Danger Woman. The last time I saw Jason was a Rangers.
Okay.
Yeah. Graduated from high school. Oh, yeah. I think GDF's daughter did graduate from high school. I completely forgot. Shows how I've been kind of. Are you talking about Jason Lee Scott, the character? Okay. Now I got a little confused there. The name Jason, just want to call one of them James. I'm just kidding. Or Joke. I'm joking. But yeah, this entire Pink Ranger thing. As a kid, I didn't take the cat, but as an adult, I'm like, I actually don't mind the character, but I just. But then again, for me, the pinnacle of Power Rangers is the 95 movie. So that's the most important part of the lore. And those are the most important Rangers, at least in my head. If people disagree with me, it's fine. By all means. Because, you know what? We can all be civil and we can all... Like, if anyone's here, it's because they love Power Rangers. And this corner is all about just loving Power Rangers. And... yeah, but something fishy. Sees Kimber. Okay, this episode is more Billy. Now, Dan was the one who took care of all the Power Ranger notes, and the main thing he noted here is that this is when we really see the sympathetic, like Kim's powerful kindness in a way. Like that's not how he worded it, but like she's very gentle. And she's kind in a feminine way. Now, there are times when such kindnesses can be demeaning and whatnot. If you read Dragonlance, you'll see all sorts of demeaning kindnesses where it's not really a kindness. It's more meant to to diminish the other person. This is male and female characters do this all the time in Dragonlance, and they're trying to lower the other person's self-esteem and say, well, you're too pathetic to be able to carry the burden yourself, so I'm showing you pity and kindness. But here, this is not the case. This is a genuine act of thoughtfulness and selflessness. And that's the thing. Kim may not believe in herself early in season 1, as seen in the Green with Evil thing. She lacked confidence in her own ability to be kind. But in this episode, Something Fishy, we see that, the power of her kindness. It is she who is able to reassure Billy. She who comes to his support. Where previously it probably would have been Trini as the most maternal one. But the fact that it's Kim is a powerful moment. This and Power Ranger Punks, now that I think about it, kind of establish a Billy-Kimberly friendship.
Yeah, kind of think of it.
I always really liked their friendship.
It seems to be recurring here.
Yeah. Well, you're the one who took the notes, so of course you're basically tooting your own horn there. The next real episode is pretty much Bloom of Doom. There's a few others, but we're going to skim through. Bloom of Doom, I really like this episode. And you have the mysterious dimension. This is, I think, one of the first episodes where you see Kim turn against Trini due to insecurities and due to a spell. I jumped ahead because of the notes. Well, you didn't note down the start of season. Well, you just said season 2, and I scrolled past that. Whoops. Now, when Lord Zed arrives on the scene, he starts a strategy, which we've beaten into the ground in noting down in other streams and videos, of just overwhelming the Rangers with continuous fights and with stronger monsters. Now, this eventually wore down upon Jason, Zach, and Trini because they got exhausted from the constant warfare. Jason also got goaded into things because of the whole green candle problem and whatnot, which can't really judge him. This began to weigh on Jason, who felt guilt over the whole green candle thing. For Kimberly, though, she kept trying to rise to the occasion and prove herself more and more. By the time of Green Candle, though, her and Tommy finally make out and become an item. And so by Bloom of Doom, Tommy is cemented as Kimberly's arm candy. And in this episode, we see, once again, the insecurities of Kim regarding Trini, something that I think was shown in season 1 a few times, and which Trini just drilled on her last nerve almost every time. Who could blame her? And that's the thing. Kimberly and Trini, I don't think they were exactly best friends, but they were good friends. And the problem lies in that Kimberly's insecurities just made the relationship difficult. Trini did everything right, but it's a case where Kimberly's got to take the L here. That being said, we noted once, I think in the stream, that Tommy and Trini are very similar people. So in a way, Kimberly may have been looking for a partner, like maybe a mixture of Billy, Zordon, and Trini melded into one person. And that's kind of what Tommy is. And it's interesting that it's Tommy who goes the extra mile to try to bridge the gap between Trini and Kimberly, keen to make sure that the two are at peace and wanting Kim to better appreciate the bond she has with Trini. And we're just about to get to the Song of Katara, one of my favorite episodes. But, we've got a few other people. Okay, I really fell behind on the chat. All right. Let me scroll back up.
Right.
Let's see. I apologize. Oh, it's okay, Danger Woman. That's for earlier causing the confusion. It's all right. It's all right. The Pink Ranger becomes the second most powerful Ranger in existence later on. Yeah. Arguably, for a short time, I'd argue she was probably the strongest, because by the time of Song of Katara, she seems like the most powerful. It is Australian accent of cat. Pardon? Okay. Let's see. I always thought that Yeah, yeah. I never really got on board with that pairing. I didn't. I just thought he was harassing her. But by season 2, the two made peace and seemed to become friends. If you pay attention, Skull starts to flirt with Aisha when on her first day at the same school as the traditional Rangers. Him and Bulk seem to be almost aggressively fighting over her, which is pretty funny. But before Tommy came into the team, if you rewatch it, Kimberly can fight on her own. Oh yeah, yeah. Before Tommy came along, Kim was now okay in terms of skill. I'd argue she was on the lower end of the team to an extent. Now, just let me defend my statement. She's Billy could not fight at the start. You have Zach, who's obviously tied in first place with Jason. Trini is right behind Zach and Jason. Then you have Kimberly. Now, the thing about Kimberly is over the course of season 1, she goes through a massive character arc and power upgrade and skill upgrade. So she goes from like this, I think 3rd or 4th place position, and she kind of surpasses Trini by, I would argue, like Calamity Kimberly. Mm-hmm. But then, hey, Billy surpasses Trini quickly enough. And Zach burns out, and Jason sort of does, but sort of doesn't. It's complicated. But I'd argue Kimberly, by the time of the end of season 1, has surpassed Jason and Zach. And that because of the nature of the green powers, they're not reliable. So Kimberly might be the most powerful Ranger on the team, followed by Billy, then Tom. Well, no, not Tommy. Tommy ranks at the bottom. But in terms of martial arts skills and capabilities and resourcefulness, Tommy might be circling around the top position. But maybe he might be second or first. But it's when he becomes the White Ranger that he kind of becomes number 1. So Kimberly, though, still ranks really high. You've got to bear in mind, she wasn't at all threatened by Goldar when her and Tommy have that fighting spell put on them, which the fact that Goldar almost doesn't register on her radar, and I believe her and Tommy do knock them all away without too much difficulty. The thing is, Kim, if you watch the 95 movie, is a powerhouse. She's a beast in a fight. Honestly, I mean, no offense, but I'd almost rather fight any other Ranger, except maybe Tommy and Aisha, than her. And I'm also, the only reason I'm mentioning Aisha is because she fights like an animal. She fights like Leo from Lost Galaxies. Those two have a very similar fighting style. Very bestial. Tommy just happens to be the greatest Ranger ever. But Kim, I might rank even, like if you were to stack all the Rangers up against each other and put them in a death battle, I might actually say Kim would be one of the last 3 standing, no matter what. And the reason I rank her so high is just, you look at the accomplishments she has, at the powers, at the abilities she has. Like, there are very few Rangers that rank close to that. Be some underlying envy between Kimberly and Trini. Yeah, there was. Wrong. Kim and Trini were best friends. I don't know about that. But
they were really good friends, but sometimes when a flaw such as envy enters things, it can cause some issues.
Weirdly, I always thought that Kim and Aisha were best friends, but almost from the word go. But that said, Trini was a great character. Obviously, wasn't paying interest in the series. Pardon? Okay, sorry. Yeah. That wasn't easy for anyone. Yeah. Well, I don't think that it was a matter of losing interest in Trini. It's just that it was a relationship with a lot of passion behind it. And even friendships can have a certain amount of passion. And Trini was trying to do everything she could to try to constantly keep the peace. Kimberly obviously wanted that, but there's all these insecurities and envy issues which kudos to Kimberly. She did overcome. She did surpass. So we're not hating on Kim here. Kimberly got one of the best arcs, though. I would rank the 5 rankings: Billy, Tommy, Zach, Billy twice. I'm just confused here. Yeah, it's not directly proportional. Okay, I got confused there.
Was it?
Yeah. But that said, I'll say too much pink energy is bad. Well, Zeo plus Turbo, too much power. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I'm gonna leave that there. But yeah, Kim, like, as a fighter, she just like the Song of Guitardo, like, for example, like Guitardo was able to take on every Ranger, including Green Ranger Tommy, whom, despite our criticism about the Green abilities, you have to bear in mind Tommy was a powerhouse. And it's Kim who takes down Guitardo, I mean, or Guitardo, whatever. And it's interesting that she uses the Dragon Dagger to do it. I remember wondering as a kid after seeing that episode why she didn't get the green coin at one point. Because, Zach got the power shield at one point, as did Jason. I kind of wanted to see her with the power shield at one point because, well, she was the most powerful Ranger in my kid brain at the time. It was like, why didn't she get it? But the reason was that when Tommy gave the powers over to Jason was the most skilled Ranger. And Tommy had no way of knowing that Kimberly would, in time, surpass Jason. But it also has to do with, I think, one has to bear in mind, Tommy also, after the Green Candle, he starts spending more time with Kim, as well as it's implied that Tommy and Billy are spending time together, as seen whenever you see Kim and Tommy together in season 2 on those picnics. So the 3 are obviously trading notes and teaching each other and learning from each other. And the last real Kimberly focused episode is where Lord Zed decides to kidnap Kimberly, and she starts acting like Rita in order to protect herself because oh my gosh, this episode was such a nightmare. It's so funny.
It was trippy.
Yeah. But that said, the power transfer is interesting because Kim seems the most she's watching it. It seems like she's the most pleased to see the new batch of Rangers. Because bear in mind she had forged a friendship with Aisha, Rocky, and Adam. But on the other hand, she's the one who mentions a certain amount of sorrow at the passing of the torch to an extent, at seeing Jason, Trini, and Zach leave, which this was controversial at the time. And we should make no mistake that it would have affected her, just as the loss of the green abilities in Green No More affected Kim probably the most out of the team. And yet, despite all the constant threats, despite the green abilities failing and Tommy needing some distance for a short time and then being zapped away by Zordon so that he could work on making him the White Ranger, Kim rises to meet the challenge time and again. Oh, whoops, I skipped ahead in the notes. All right, we're going to do the power transfer next time on our next Kim stream. Whoops. Oh, well. Forget all that. But White Light is where we're supposed to end it with, basically her doing that pass out scene with Tommy. I'll just go here. Watch the series. Okay, let's see. Oh, By the way, Feedback Family is America's real-life superhero family. Just recently. I'm not familiar with Feedback Family or real-life superhero family. I'm not familiar with that. Final request from Stanley himself. Oh, well, that's sweet. Jason is by far the superior fighter. He could even get some hits in against Tommy.
Yeah.
Whilst Tommy is morphed. Well, do you mean superior to Kim or to Tommy? Because now I'll just say, weighing on with my opinion. I will argue that Green with Evil point, Jason is obviously better, but I knocked something over. But later, by the time of Green No More, Tommy has surpassed Jason. And this has to do with the fact that Tommy defeated Goldar, someone Jason never could defeat. Okay, let's see. Okay, then we shall have to agree to disagree. Noted. Thank you guys for keeping it civil. We appreciate that. We don't want anyone fighting in our chat. Now, having a hearty debate, we're cool with. So I have to give you both a lot of credit here. Lloyd, John, Lyons, and Ravo, I appreciate your
maturity.
Yeah, and civility. Kim seems to be very close to Billy. Yeah. When standing around relative to the other Rangers. They're definitely good friends. Yeah. Now, of the original team, the ones that, now I'm not including Tommy because, naturally he was our favorite on the team. But the ones that Kim was closest to were Billy, and as Lloyd John Lyons noted, Trini. So these are the two Rangers she was closest to. In the second lineup, it would be Aisha and Tommy, but not counting Tommy, Billy. Mm-hmm. Let's see. On the other hand, Kim has shown her sharp edge when she competed against Tommy for president campaign. Oh yeah, that episode was great. But we also saw that she's a formidable enough fighter to match up to Tommy and keep up with him as a fighter. So yeah, thank you. Is that to us or to Mr. Lyons? Educate you. The Feedback Family are big Power Ranger allies. Feedback. Lady Feedback's wife. Is that a YouTube channel? Trini liked Billy. Yeah, the two seemed pretty close. They were probably like siblings.
I could see how early on people thought they were together because
I thought Billy had a crush on her.
Yeah.
But I don't think it went anywhere. And I think that with Trini, by the time of season 2, she obviously has that guy Rich, whom I actually thought there was some chemistry between the two characters, and that Rich was a good character. I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Rich is his name or something like that. Like the Hispanic guy. I thought he looked like a good character. I wish they brought him back for a later season as a Ranger or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we're bring her in as the den mother of sorts. I don't know. Like, I just wanted to see Trini come back. Oh, good point. I thought so too. Yeah, everybody was like, they're like, at least one of them likes the other. Like, yeah, the only one that I think almost everyone kind of went, oh yeah, they're a thing, was Tommy and Kim. Although Austin McNeil prefers Jason, one of our frequent fans here, prefers Jason with Kim, which I was not even aware till he brought it up in a previous chat that people even thought about that. And the only reason I didn't know that was even thought of is because I don't really pay attention to the forums or the fanfics or anything or fan art or anything. I only watch the show. And,
yeah, I think the main time frame that people thought the two could have worked might have been before Tommy showed up.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I remember a bit about that.
Oh, I didn't think of that. But the thing is, I think the problem with it is that it traps Kim in the role of just the girl, rather than commenting on the vast arc she got afterwards from Green with Evil up to like when she departs. because Kim gets this vast arc from this kind of cheerleader character into this, honestly, the main character of the Power Ranger, first few seasons at least. Oh, McNeil, speak of the devil or speak of Cao Cao and he shall appear. Yeah, I totally agree with Ray about Jason being the better fighter. That's fair. We can agree to disagree. Then Tommy, even when he's morphed, and Jason is a way better leader than Tommy. I'm going to disagree. Okay. As my way of saying thank you for the interview, accept my invitation to Dragon Con. Well, I wish I could go, but I'm going to be teaching English in Vietnam starting next week. So I'm going to be trapped in Asia for 1 year. The content will continue coming, hopefully. Basically, I've been editing the videos and putting the videos together, but I'm teaching Dan in 1 week how to do it. And the next 2 videos over on our Fantasy Corner he produced. So we're going to run at least 1 Power Ranger video before I leave. This way I could teach him how to make the Power Ranger videos because it's slightly different from the fantasy stuff. And this way I will edit the audio and submit it to Dan, and Dan will edit the video and put it together.
It might actually be fun to listen to go to a convention again.
Yeah, you should go to this Dragon Con. I like the name Dragon Con. I hope there's Dragon Chess there. There was this one episode where Tommy and Bulk squared off in defense of Kim. It's then that when I saw that Bulk is fearless, despite Tommy being a champion fighter.
Huh. Gotta give it the Bulk.
Yeah. Tommy was a leader to the team. Jason was leader to Tommy. I disagree. Don't be sad. I will sing to the masses of justice. Yeah.
Rebel's last comment, I could see where early on, because of Tommy's insecurities.
Yeah, as Green Ranger.
Maybe Jason help lead Tommy into becoming the leader that he was destined to be.
But Jason was a pretty good leader. Zach was helping lead the team as well. So Zach gets a lot of credit for being the level-headed one. But Jason does deserve a lot of credit for leading the Rangers through like Green with Evil, which was a difficult time. And through the initial Z, I'm going to say wave. I don't know how else to word it. But I would argue that when Tommy becomes White Ranger, by then Tommy's ready for the mantle. And we see Tommy lead the team really capably, perfectly through several seasons. And I don't know. I just fall in more on Tommy's side. And you look at the 95 movie. I'm going to keep reiterating that. There, Tommy is just such a great leader. That being said, there's also the Ninja episodes, which are so-so, which are actually not. They're pretty good in some ways. And Tommy leads the team ably there. The thing is, when Zordon is struck down in, let's say, the movie, or when you have towards the end of season 2, Tommy is the one who brings the team together, makes the strategic decisions, and even manages to split up the team a few times. Like, all right, you go there, I'll join up with you in a few minutes. And he's able to strategically position the Rangers in such a way where they don't need him to always be present to lead them, but you know what I mean? He's fighting like a general. He's knowing how to divide his forces. Mm-hmm. And this is a talent that I always found that it's very particular to Tommy, and he passes down to TJ.
All right. So
let's see. Indeed, correct. I was referring to Green Tommy, not the White Tommy. Oh, okay.
Okay. So
thank you for that clarification.
So by that,
I was just going to say, I was worried about disagreeing. Like, not disagreeing, but like, I was hoping I wasn't coming on too strong here. But yeah, Green Tommy, I don't think he was resourceful. He was brilliant, but I don't think he was the leader. By the time of the end of season 1 and beginning of season 2, I'm still going to maintain Jason as leader, and he's doing a good job there. The only character who seems to almost be a number 2 might be Kimberly or Billy as almost coming up. Like I don't. Yeah, Green Tommy was not leader, but Tommy, when he becomes White Ranger, I find, in my opinion, he's probably the greatest leader from then on of the Power Rangers. Like, you look at Dino Thunder, that's just a case in point of how great Tommy is. Don't be sad, I will sing. Oh, I already read that. Fly, but Serge interviewing me about. Okay, no problem, Danger Woman, and you're always welcome here. Do take care. I hear you, man. Okay. I was a handover process. Je ne comprends pas. I'm not sure I follow. But there's someone else in the chat. Okay, I'll try to read that. Milika Kajni. Is Kim and Jason gonna be maybe make a short cameo on the viewing globe? Even Tommy. Okay. In Once and Always a Ranger, do you think there should be a cameo of Jason, Kim, and Tommy in the viewing globe?
I think so. If we're going to go back and take a look at a lot of the classical Rangers, maybe they'll cameo in the viewing globe because of the fact that we lost JDF.
Yeah. There's Trini's actress, Doi Trong.
Yeah, you have Kim's actress.
Amy Jo Johnson's not coming back.
Yeah, and her declining for the cameo might relegate her to that. And with St. John's.
St. John's not coming back. I think it has to do with just the time frame. Like, he wasn't able to come back.
Yeah.
You got to bear in mind, scheduling conflicts happen. I think this year he's got a pretty busy convention stuff, because I know, like, he's doing the convention circuit, I think, again, and that keeps a lot of the Ranger actors pretty busy, and they honestly make more money from that than I think they sometimes do from the actual episodes, because Saban. Until we meet on the net and Dragon Con. Oh, that'd be nice. And I am Olmsted. What's Olmsted? I accidentally clicked that off. Beef between GDF and JC. Was that Jean-Claude Van Damme was real or marketing? I never gave it much thought, actually. I'm French, and I never gave it much thought. Jean-Claude Van Damme, honestly, I liked some of his old movies from the early 90s. But after Street Fighter, I kind of lost interest in him. It's not that I didn't like that movie. I thought it was funny. But
he was more an action star of the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. And I sometimes forget that there was a beef between the two. And the only reason I sometimes forget is more... I honestly forgot about Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like,
and their careers never really crossed each other.
Well, it seems that they crossed enough that the two had some sort of beef.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And considering Van Damme's personality,
yeah,
I can see why.
Yeah. Man has a French ego. I had to crack that joke. Parce que je suis français. Is the movie Legend of the White Dragon going to be available only at U.S. cinema theaters, or maybe into other continents too? Okay. That I don't know. I'm hoping it'll be available overseas because I want to watch it from when I go to Vietnam.
And hopefully it's available here.
In Canada. Yeah. Because honestly, we really want to go to the theaters. And I'm going to be honest. I really want to see it in theaters for that experience. I love the theater experience. And honestly, ever since Robert the Bruce from 2019, this is the movie I've been looking forward to the most.
Mm-hmm.
This is a movie that, honestly, it's such a great idea. It looks so good, and honestly, like, I really hope so. I don't know. We do a lot of news stuff on Legend of the White Dragon, Milika, but uh, That in the Sun has been very. There's not been a lot of news on some stuff. I think there might be a few other channels that know more about the distribution, but if you want, we'll look into that, and maybe next week or the week after, I'll make a video to try to figure that out. I'll try to figure it out while I'm in my job training next week. So, if I hear anything, I'll let everyone know. Okay. But I'm really sorry I don't know much more. Actually, I think we're one of the only Power Ranger channels that are really hyping up for Legend of the White Dragon. It's such a great looking movie. I always wondered, how does the green in Power and White Power stack up? Okay.
Well, the thing is that because the green energy eventually started fizzling out, and
well, we also kind of were discussing, what was it, that green seems to be some sort of like, not beginning, but it seems almost immortal end of the metaphysical spectrum, because you have passion for red, pink is female energy, you have black, which is male energy, because there's no female Black Rangers and there's no male Pink Rangers, and it should stay that way. I only say that because I like the idea of distinct energies for everything. Wisdom is blue. It seems like yellow is more maternal, because yellow is a traditional mother color.
Yeah, and there's creativity.
Well, yeah, but that's what creativity is interlinked with the mother energy. And one has to bear in mind, now I'm only basing this mentality off of it from a color psychology there. And because apparently, do you know which character at one point was associated by some professors from the Superman literature with the color yellow? Jonathan Kent. And the reason it was, yes, he's a father, but he's almost more a maternal influence, while Jor-El is more a paternal influence over Clark. And you always see Jonathan bathed in yellow to an extent in some scenes, and solar colors like that. And you have also typically female characters, very maternal ones, like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, bathed in yellow. So this yellow, you look at Trini, Aisha, they're very maternal. And I think with white, it's supposed to be the white light of good. It's the divine energy. That is to say, you've got Horus from Egyptian mythology. You've got, of course, in Judeo-Christian mythology, or religion, you have Jesus, who's associated with this kind of coloring and this kind of energy. When I say coloring, I mean like metaphysical color. Like a lot of art bathes him in white. You have Balder from Norse mythology. Like, it's a traditional idea that the son of a deity is often a messianic figure, a new king, like King Arthur, for example, as well. So you've got a lot of messianic connotations with the white light abilities. And it is an interesting thing. We're going to have to do a series of streams on that at some point. Austin McNeil, I know that everyone loves Tommy as the White Ranger. In my opinion, I say Jason should have been the White Ranger, and would have been totally badass and different and fun too. It might have been interesting. I actually like Tommy with the white powers. I'm biased, so we'll just have to agree to disagree, McNeil. But you know what?
It's an interesting thought.
I just think that Jason totally should have come back with maybe a different set of abilities. Either, I don't know, maybe Silver or something for in space. I don't know. Maybe at some point a white power for him. I wish GDF would have gotten a direct-to-DVD action movie deal like Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren have. Yeah, I wish that as well. Let me see. Also in Z Ranger, I don't know if you've seen that in that storyline, but the Dragon Ranger died while in Mighty Morphin. Tommy loses the powers. Yeah,
yes, I remember reading up about that, how because the Dragon Ranger character died in story, they didn't have as much stock footage for the Green Ranger. Hence why they took the White Ranger costume from a different Sentai series and brought it as Tommy's.
Yeah. Thank you for pointing this out, Rod Kiersey. In fact, the actor who played Buri actually gave a tribute to GDF. Oh, that's nice.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. I think the two even met each other at Comic-Con. They probably made a big joke about it. Gung Ho episode, I would think the leadership was handed over from Jason to Tommy. That is why Zordon sent them on the quest. Just a theory. Gung Ho was which episode again? Sorry, it's not in our Kimberly notes.
Isn't that when the two did that at the American Ninja Show thing? American Gladiators?
1 second. Let's see. Gung Ho. Just loading it up. Let's see. 2 episode Super Putty story arc as it introduces the Super Putty Patrols in earnest as their only appearance. Okay, this website does not have a good description of this.
Oh, freezing. Yes. Team Ninja Finals. That's the entire American Gladiators episode.
Oh, that one. That was cool.
Yeah.
That's where Titanus was introduced. Oh, yeah. Correct. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. American Gladiators was very popular in the 90s. And a lot of teenagers wanted to be in those shows.
Trini was the one who told them to work together, just highlighting the importance of Trini.
Yeah.
As the mediator and the mom of the team. Her and Aisha served a similar role, although it's interesting that Aisha took a more tough love approach, while Trini, I'm just checking the time because all right, we're good. Trini took a more soft love approach with the other Rangers. And the thing with Tommy and Jason, whether that was the moment when Zordon knew for sure he'd have to make Tommy the leader. I'm just thinking about it. Well, I kind of went with the theory that maybe it might have been the Green Candle to an extent. Ravo, if only because Jason, no, not the Green Candle. It was another episode. I forget which one, but it was where Jason, no, I think it was that one. And the thing was that Jason made the wrong call to initially when it came to, Tommy's life or powers. He was originally going to go for the powers, and it was Zach who had to remind him. And that Zordon kind of started to have an inkling this might only be he might have to replace Jason. But on the other hand, I think that's too early. Like, that was an early theory I had. But now I'm kind of like, I think that was too early. Gung Ho might make more sense. And all that I can think of is that at some point during the Green Ranger era, maybe around Green No More, Tommy was pegged for being the next White Ranger. Or not the White Ranger, because it's the first White Ranger. And Jason, I think when Zordon realized he needed space was when, now there are two things happening, is that Zed is throwing wave after wave of monsters at them, but Goldar's constantly in every encounter with Jason, just antagonizing him. So Jason is often in a rage against Goldar, and he's often getting impulsive, but then he's also getting insecure at other moments. Like, you look at the episode, I think after Green No More, where Jason's utterly depressed and broken about the loss of Tommy's abilities. So he's veering between depression and anger. And this is affecting Jason's mental health. And I kind of have the theory that the reason Zordon sent away Jason was because he couldn't bear to see Jason in such pain anymore. And they decided that, I need to take him off the board, so to speak, because it's breaking my heart to see him kind of emotionally become a little crippled by what's going on. Should have morphed, like when Tommy morphed when he fought Zed in season 3. Yeah. Yeah.
And
that was a judgment call where Jason made the wrong call. I will agree with you, Rob Kiersey.
And I think as time passed, Jason
realized that.
It's like his self-confidence was shot. He was getting depressed.
But yeah,
he was doubting himself as a leader, whether he was qualified.
Yeah, there's a lot that Jason's suffering through. And where this is another distinct difference. Jason didn't really he had Zordon's support, and that was kind of, and Zach's, and that was kind of, but Zach by the time of season 2 is kind of pulling away from the Rangers. He himself is exhausted, so you kind of have this weird thing going on with Jason where he's not in a good place. Tommy had the support of Kimberly, and it cannot be overstated enough how much this must have meant to Tommy. And that in some ways it was Kim's emotional support and love that helped keep Tommy together in some of the hardest points in Power Ranger history. And a lot of those hard periods were when he was the Green Ranger. And it speaks volumes to the character of Tommy that when it came time for the student council president decision, Tommy stood down and said, you know what, Kim should be student council president. And it speaks volumes to the fact that Tommy was always there to support Kim. And it's also noteworthy that Kimberly, by the time of the movie and early season 3, is co-leader for a reason. And that, in some ways, you look at the I forgot the name for it. But the against Ivan Ooze and his Defamorphicans, that said, when they're fighting against those things, at one point when Tommy pulls off away and they merge all their vehicles together, the thing is, Kim is leading the team. And, throughout that movie, and even throughout the end of season 2, you constantly see Kim and Tommy kind of, it's hard to see where one begins and one ends as leader. They rely on each other. They're co-leaders. And it's probably the best co-leadership I've ever seen in Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Goldar is a formidable opponent. Don't underestimate his skill. Oh, yeah. Lord Zed is even more skilled as a fighter.
Oh, yeah.
Lord Zed's probably the most powerful villain there's ever been in Power Rangers, at least in my opinion.
I'm inclined to agree.
The episode where Rita and Lord Zed are being converted to being good, they kind of missed the point there. I agree.
Yeah.
Actually, I hate that scene because I hate that, and I don't like to acknowledge it.
Because Lord Zed is the ultimate evil.
Well, after Ivan Ooze.
Yeah.
But Zed is the dark side of the morphing grid. The morphing grid is kept in balance. Well, the balance is constantly wavering between Zordon's light and Zed's evil and darkness. And so this is mentioned directly by Lord Zed in the White Light episode. And the moment Zed sees Zordon kind of weaken a little, because Zordon's transferring some of his essence into Tommy's white power coin, Zed pounces. And he makes reference to the nature of the morphing grid. And so, yeah, I don't think that Zordon should have been able to redeem Zed. And we have to bear in mind, although I don't really think of it as canon, the crossover in Boom Studio Comics between DC and Power Rangers, they put, I think, Zed's power level around Darkseid's. And while I find Darkseid at times exhausting as a character and villain, I do like him, but other times it's just, they overuse him sometimes. Zed is comparable to him in power, which means he's wow. It's hard to imagine anyone who could compare to him. in power.
Mhm.
Goodness must be a choice. It seems, yeah, I do agree. Goodness is a choice. Therefore, their goodness is not moral, but this makes its morality a bit more questionable. How so?
Taking away the element of choice from Zed and Rita.
Oh, yes, yes. Sorry for not. My brain wasn't working. Yes, Revo, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, you summed it up.
Mhm.
Wow.
And yet later on, you have Divatox that showed up in Lost Galaxy after that.
She did,
Yeah,
but she was turned good.
exactly. Because she appeared bless you. She appeared in one scene, if I'm not mistaken, when they were transitioning to Corone. And Corone went to get the pink power saber that was being held on auction.
Okay, you have a better memory than me. I don't remember that.
So there is conflicting timeline lore there.
Maybe we should just consider the whole they're all purified thing retconned out for Lost Galaxies. Please, oh please, oh please.
Because by then, Divatox should have been part of those that was transitioned into good, but she is later seen.
I don't understand why they didn't finish up season 3 with all 6 fighting Zed. They defeat Master Vile. Zed would be like, we're not through. Yeah,
I agree. They should have concluded the arc with Zed.
Yeah, just
Zed and Rita were not eliminated, and that was the original goal. When on the moon, the dumpster got opened, Rita wanted to conquer Earth, and we did not see the conclusion.
I always felt that it should have been Tommy who deals the killing blow to Zed, and Kim should get the last blow on Rita. But I was also of the opinion that maybe Kim should solo Rita to an extent, just because there is so much baggage between those two characters. I'm with you on that statement, Rob. Jason definitely should have morphed, but seeing him fight unmorphed is always awesome to see. Yeah, me neither, Rob. I like Dino Thunder, how they actually gave a final fight with the Rangers and Mesogog. Yeah, they filmed American footage. They put money into that big action scene. Yeah, that's what I love about Dino Thunder. Like, they actually decided, we're just going to do this.
And it's like the entire fight, but I know I go on about it, between Trakina and Leo. That was...
Which one? Because they have like 3 fights, and they're all really good.
Mm-hmm. And they essentially do use more Western...
Well, they do use stock footage a few times.
But
yeah, like the unmorphed scene was obviously them.
Mm-hmm. And then there's the final battle between Leo and Trakina.
Really? I thought that was stock footage.
It could be.
I don't know. But it's been a while since I saw Lost Galaxies. I love that season. But that's something that Lost Galaxies and even Lightspeed and Dino Thunder have over the original Mighty Morphin era. They actually decided we're going to go for this big action blockbuster fight scene, which should be done because, like, let's conclude an arc here. Mm-hmm. Zed should have, like, I'm not going to lie. Okay, so ignoring that weird Zordon wave, I kind of thought that what would almost be natural for them to do to conclude the franchise, like kind of as almost a Ragnarok type thing, was to have now this was before GDF passed, which now I have a hard time even talking about this idea, but it was that maybe Zed versus Tommy and neither of them walk away, and it's old man Tommy, where that should have been the one Green Dragon story, where you see the two just throw everything in the kitchen sink at each other and neither of them walk, and where Kim meanwhile defeats and destroys Rita, and you have her leading a group of other Rangers, and they bury Tommy, but the battle continues, and where maybe Tommy's abilities are either passed down to his son or to Kira or something. Mm-hmm. But that was an idea I had in passing a few years ago, but now I don't feel comfortable with the idea to an extent. I'd rather Tommy in universe walks away in a comic book or cartoon, because like what happened with GDF. But on the other hand, I don't want them to continue the live action, because to an extent, I do want to see Once and Always a Ranger, but I also feel if they make another season after that, I feel very uncomfortable, if only because of GDF and whatnot. But if people disagree with me and are like, no, they should keep it going in his name, okay. It's just, I don't know. Like, if people want to disagree, that's fine. Do disagree. Rob, we should have gotten that in season 3 of Mighty Morphin. Yeah, we definitely should have seen the Rangers team up and destroy Zed. It would have been the most epic and cool fight. Why does the Pink Ranger has 2 colors in her helmet? Also, she has a dress and Yellow Ranger doesn't.
The reason why the Yellow Ranger didn't have a dress was because in the Sentai series, the Yellow Ranger was a guy.
Yeah, it was a dude.
Yeah, so when they brought forth to North America, it's why, for example, you take a look at coloring books and whatnot. Trini in those does have the skirt, but you look at the actual live action series, no.
Yeah. Oh, Rob Kiersey. It's kind of like the 30th anniversary episode. But I've seen they kill Trini off. I mean, that's kind of off. Yeah. I'm not impressed with that. I don't like that. They should not kill off Trini. Like I've said it before, they should have had her ride off into the sunset. It could be with Rich. It could be with someone else, anyone else. I don't care. Trini they should have given her the happily ever after that we all wanted Thuy Trong to kind of have in real life. At least that's my opinion. And I'm very opinionated on this. And I'm very, very peeved with the decision to kill off Trini, because I really like Trini as a character. And I feel that there was still a bit of a story to be written at some point with Trini. And they have eliminated and taken that from us. And it's just, yeah, I'm sorry. It's just like the thing is, I think that I don't want to see Trini recasts. It's just, unless it's an animated feature, but animated features are different from live action. They're almost more like comic books. But on the other hand, like a comic book where it may be, I don't know, Trini's a mom and has a daughter or a son who goes off to become a Power Ranger, and Trini doesn't approve, and it's about Trini overcoming her feelings, like the negative side of what happened as in Mighty Morphin, and her remembering the beauty of it and the joy and her beautiful bond with Zordon and her friendship with and rekindling her friendship with the other Rangers. I always thought there was a story like that to be written, and where, you know, like she's happily married, she's maybe a vet or something. Like, give her a happily ever after, because if any character deserves that, it's Trini. How did this become a Trini stream? I'm kidding. But yeah, like, killing her off. Yeah, I totally agree, Rob Kiersey. I'm sorry for flying off the handle. I just, it's the thing of the actors who pass away, and then, you know,
it gets complicated.
Yeah. I see. Clear. Okay. Lots of people from the show died. The person who voiced Zed. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember that. That was rough. He did a great job giving Zed that voice with a well-designed villain. Yes, he was such a great. He gave Zed such presence.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really loved his Zed. Oh my gosh, my favorite lines. Some of my favorite lines in Power Rangers were his. Some of them dramatic. You are not fit to rule this sector or something like that. Remember to Rita? I loved it when he said, "Stop your sniveling," to so many characters. Or remember, finally someone shuts her up. Oh man. Guys, Diva Talks was never in Lost Galaxy, bro.
Okay, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I was pretty sure she wasn't.
Yeah, it's like there's a character in the auction that, right. Right, Trakina. My bad.
You got Drakina confused with Divatox there. Okay,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Lost Galaxy in like 5-6 years, so I was deferring to Dan there.
Yeah, my bad. It was Trakina, not Divatox.
Thank you for correcting us, Austin McNeil. Appreciate
Although, in my opinion, if they really wanted to push Corone as a
it.
Power
Actually,
Ranger,
here's a question.
Divatox
here's
should
a
have been
question.
her villain.
Here's a question. If Zed got purified, how come Drakina and Scorpio did not get purified from that Zordon wave?
At least
that doesn't make any sense. How about Banshira? How come she wasn't purified?
At least she could say she was stuck in an alternative dimension trying to break free.
Yeah, but at the same time, how come, like, how come at least Drakina and Scorpio did not get purified? That entire Zordon wave thing makes no sense. But yeah, it's too bad they couldn't get Amy Jo Johnson back for this 30th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, maybe they had originally planned for her to come back in Forever Red, and they couldn't get her back for that. If the golden chest shield of the Green Ranger increased defensive power, why didn't Zordon give the rest of the Rangers a shield as well? I think it has to do with the fact that 10,000 years ago, sorry, I had to do that. I think it has to do with the nature of the ability. Like the Green Ranger abilities seem to, I don't think they had some of the same offensive capabilities, some abilities like the pink or the red had. At least early on, because it seems like when Jason has both green and red, his red abilities are really good. You have Kim when she uses the green abilities. But on the other hand, you can make the argument there was all those special magical abilities like the magical force field and whatnot. So my argument there doesn't really hold water. But on the other hand, I think it has to do with the fact that the abilities were very particular and that Zordon had intended them to be a little better in some ways, at least in defensive capabilities than the others. But it got stolen by Rita Repulsa. So it was a matter that I think he wanted to focus on one. Here's a theory. Maybe they were intended to be the leader abilities.
Maybe.
But it didn't work out because of Rita. And we also have to bear in mind, maybe her tainting the abilities to darkness had a negative impact on the abilities as well, because the abilities are supposed to be good and wielded by a good person, but the abilities were misused. I'm just a sucker for characters that were evil turned good. Tommy, Kat, and Corone. Yeah, I like it when they do story arcs like that. It's why I know you and I both like Leo. Leo's not evil, but he's basically the Han Solo. So he goes from this kind of scoundrel point and becomes this, I'm going to be honest, Boy Scout.
And Ryan from Lightspeed Rescue.
I love his arc. I love Ryan from Lightspeed Rescue. Why was he written out? Like,
stock footage.
Yeah. But yeah, like we totally agree with you, Robbie Kiersey. But makes sense. Yeah, maybe the Green Rangers were more particular, but yeah, I'm even going to go so far as to theorize maybe they were a bit of an experiment. That the intention was to put the shield on everyone, but it didn't work out that way because they were stolen. And so Zordon decided, okay, go with what I've got. But on the other hand,
maybe by the time he had the opportunity to update them.
Well, I'm gonna quickly say this. He doesn't seem to have been able to an extent later on, although I'll correct that in just a minute. With the White Ranger abilities, he seems to have made them like the Green Ranger abilities with a power shield. And he certainly put the effort into that. But the white powers were even more particular than the green ones. Then you got Zeo, where I've seen art by Tokujay, one of the biggest Power Ranger fans on the internet, who's making great CG art, by the way, for Power Rangers. His interpretation of the Zeos is that they all have a power shield, where Zordon actually was able to do that. So maybe he wasn't able to. Maybe it's a case where it took him time to rediscover the notes, rediscover the knowledge, and where it's essentially like Henry Jones Sr. from Indiana Jones. I wrote it down so I wouldn't have to remember it, that kind of thing. And where he needed to rediscover the technology to an extent, and where the thing about the White Ranger abilities is it's more spiritual to an extent, but I would argue he was using scientific. Now, arguably, maybe each of the abilities should have had that power shield after the Great Power, but that's not the case. But yeah, we're just running with theories here. When I mean of all the Rangers, I'm referring specifically to have the OG6 fight Zed and Rita one final time and have Tommy deal with Zed while the others take down Rita. Okay, that would have been neat.
Yeah.
Or maybe the OG6 and the Stone Canyon Trio. Like have all 9, and where you have 8 Rangers against Rita and you have Tommy against Zed. How's that, Austin McNeil? Hope that, like, as far as fan fiction, how does that go? Because, like, you know, Stone Canyon Trio are still awesome.
Yeah.
And it'd be awesome to see 8 Rangers getting up on one character.
Yeah.
Keep in mind that Tommy transferred that shield twice to the Red Ranger, once to up his defense, and second time when Tommy lost his screen power, and a third time to Zach, because he also did it for Zach, to up Zach's defenses. So, yeah. The shield was certainly compatible with other abilities. My theory is just that the green abilities were made very particular. So obviously the other abilities can like when you can transfer the shield to them, they can accept it. So they were obviously built to be able to one day be updated with the shield, but maybe Zordon never got to that, so to speak, as someone in the chat I think mentioned at one point. Rob Kersey, I would like to see what lead up to Principal Randall being turned evil. She was a normal person. How did it happen? Just like what caused Anton Mercer to become Mescop. They really should have done a graphic novel on that.
Yeah.
Burnt Oils. Hey again, to YouTubes. Hey. How are you, Burnt Oils? Hope you're well. And we have just the Zach thing, I think. Yeah. Man, Zach having that shield was cool.
Yeah.
But I repeat, maybe Kim and maybe Billy should have worn it as well, at least once. Actually, maybe every Ranger should have had their turn with the green shield.
I agree.
Like this way, they each get an episode where they get to wear it. And you know, for toys, we can each have our favorite Ranger with the shield. But it doesn't seem like the White Ranger could transfer his shield around.
No, and I think that may have been deliberate.
Yeah.
Where
maybe archetypally, maybe only to Kim because of archetype.
Yeah, maybe.
But I'm only looking at that archetypally. But not looking at it that way, the White Ranger abilities doesn't seem to have been able to transfer the shield around, I think. I've never heard of it being able to. The green abilities certainly could. So maybe that's why Tommy sometimes returns to the green abilities, so that if he has an ally around, he could just transfer the shield to them and continue the fight.
Yeah, because maybe it's the one that he learned how to...
Well, he can't transfer the shield as White Ranger, but maybe he likes to go back to green in like the Operation Megaforce, I think it is. Because if someone else gets injured and needs those defensive upgrade, maybe he could just quickly transfer it to them and continue fighting himself. It's not like he needs to shield as much.
That's fair.
And it would harken back to his Boy Scout nature and his protective streak of other Rangers. I'm just shooting off an idea there. That episode I was referring to was Calamity Kimberly, the one where Bulk got ready to take on Tommy. Oh, yeah, he even swiped at Tommy. Oh, yeah, I think that has more to do with Bulk being a little slow at times. And where he forgot that Tommy was a martial arts champion. But Tommy, while he did end up using some Aikido, did not seem intent on injuring Bulk. And that has to do with Tommy's self-restraint. And that was actually, I think, the scene. Remember when I said there's a bit of Trini in Tommy? Yeah. Because that's the sort of thing Trini would do so as to avoid any real injuries or fight with Bulk. Because Trini didn't want to injure anyone. She may have really hated Bulk, but I never got the sense she wanted to hurt him. And that Tommy has the same belief in the spiritual and peaceful side of martial arts as Trini.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, but what does that say for Kim wanting to date Trini? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, great analysis. Oh, thank you, Revo. We appreciate it. We truly do. But yeah, somehow we got into this battle. I want to just see Austin McNeil's and other people's 5 cents about the 8 Rangers against Rita thing as well. Oh man! But I will say this: though we did not get this Zed Rita thing, we at least got to see the Rangers go up against Ivan Ooze, who was a great villain.
Oh yeah.
Although if they, I wish that maybe they brought him back for a 30th anniversary. Because I want to see him go like, you killed me. I am going to get you for that, to Aisha in particular. Because Aisha, you know, with that emergency button. I can't wait to get to that scene in our shot-for-shot analysis. I love that scene. That's one of my favorite cinematic scenes of all times.
Yes.
Because the Megazords formed from their collective desires and powers. So somewhere in Aisha's soul, she wanted to just... her emergency button, she wanted to knee a Deformorphican or something in the crotch. Like, just the sheer pettiness and spite in that act is just so perfect.
Indeed.
But now that I think about it, maybe we should do a Trini to Aisha comparison video at some point.
Maybe.
Because, like, you know, Aisha is more the tough love, and Trini's more the maternal, like, gentle love.
That's fair.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to do some the first gens comparison stuff. Well, actually, maybe we should also extend it to some of the later transfers, because not in a negative way, just like you look at the transfer of the red abilities from Tommy to TJ, because like I really like the similarities between Tommy and TJ. They're both very strategic. They're both very masculine. They're both Boy Scouts. They're both great characters. There's also Kimberly to Kat. There are some similarities there in a positive aspect, though there are some negative stuff that what was his name? I'm not good with names. I think it was Lloyd John Lyons. Yeah, he brought up some good points about some of the sentiment with Kim and Kat. I actually think that the moment Amy Jo Johnson said, all right, I'm walking, maybe should have just done the Zio thing. Like, you know what I mean? Because they lost Karen Ashley. They were losing. She wanted to leave around that time too. So you might as well have this Zio transfer and just transfer. My point, like, not just be, it's just that it's maybe better there to do the power transfer. And
yeah.
And this would have, I don't know, like, this would have kept maybe Kat out of the shadow of Kim a little more directly. And because Tanya does not seem to be too much in Aisha's shadow. And I don't know, like, the Kat Kim thing, that is, and it's not the character's faults. It's not the actress's faults. It's not the fans' faults for being a little miffed about some of the bad writing. It's just the letter and whatnot, like just that, and what they did with Kat as a character.
Right.
Kat as a character should not have been. Like, they could have introduced a different love interest for Tommy, but not Kat. The only reason is to keep make Kat her own character.
Yeah,
but yeah, like, but anyways, as for Kim, Calamity Kimberly was such a great episode. That's one of the all-time best episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sounds totally more phenomenal, guys. Great idea. I'm going to use that video for my own project for Power Rangers: A Brand New World. Oh, you mean the 8 Rangers against Rita and the and Tommy versus soloing Zed? Sure.
Glad we could help.
Yeah, like the rivalry between Zed and Tommy was one of the best parts.
Yeah.
They definitely should have squared off.
Mm-hmm.
Because Zed was never injured before in his entire life, and it's Tommy who injured him for the first time. Tommy was the White Stranger. Kim leads the Wild West Rangers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and Kim does a great job there. We were going to tackle that in the next Kimberly stream because our idea here was we somehow
Veered off topic.
and also went a little ahead of where we were planning. Our plan was that we would touch on everything up to the power transfer, then deal with the Stone Canyon trio individually, and then deal with the Tommy, Billy, and Kim group trio for post power transfer up to maybe the first 3 episodes of season 3. And then we were going to do a series of streams about maybe the movie and whatnot. That was kind of our idea. I just lay it out for you all so that because you all deserve to know. Like yeah, might as well be honest about our plans when it comes to live streams. Was Kat always a cat, and was she always evil? How does she not have cat memories when transformed into a human and later into being good?
She was not always a cat.
Yeah, she was a human being.
There's a reference that she has relatives.
Yeah.
It's like even some, I think one of her relatives actually did show up.
Yeah. All I know is she was not originally a cat, but her not having memories there and her not having memories of some of her evil deeds is actually a pretty interesting difference between her and Tommy. Maybe that's why she's not as traumatized as Tommy by that.
Yeah.
About having all 9 Rangers storming the palace to take them down once and for all. Yeah. I originally thought that it might have been more fitting. Like, okay, honestly, the original trio coming back to storm the palace at the end of season 3, that thought never occurred to me originally. But now I'm married to the idea. Because you might as well bring them back, at least for like maybe a 9-parter or 10-parter episode. How would you have reacted to the last 10 episodes is like completely throwing out our old idea and just having all 9 Rangers come back, like all 9 Rangers get together and they're all storming that palace. Although you need to maybe put a small costume difference between Jason and Rocky, Aisha and Trini, and Zach and Adam, just so that you can either that or throw out the stupid stock footage and make sure that the costumes are custom to each of them. So that way you get these visual differences. And just have the 9 of them just storm the palace, take down Rita and Zed. That would have been perfect. And if they want to bring in Master Vile, I kind of feel like he should have been the villain for the next season. And I don't know, but yeah, like all 9 storming the palace would have been awesome. Yeah. And we'd have seen like Rocky and Jason team up. We'd have seen Adam and Zach and Trini and Aisha. And if you want to include Kat as Pink Ranger, that would be 10 Rangers. And you have Kim and Kat teaming up. But I kind of think that Kim should probably get the killing blow on Rita still. And Tommy maybe on Zed. She was even a swimmer. Oh, yeah. I like that. I remember that. Yeah. Kat, I like that she was a dancer. Now, she was much more of a dancer than Kim. Kim was a dancer, but there were different types of dancers. Kim was also more a gymnast and and arguably a much better fighter. Although Kat got some great episodes in Zio, but she got a raw deal as well, sadly. And yeah, the raw deal. But anyways, I think we've gone on long enough, and I actually have to go in a few minutes. Yeah. So we're gonna stop there. And I don't know when the next stream is going to be because next week I'm flying out to Vietnam. So, and that's where I don't know if the week after that I'm going to be able to stream. It's just the schedule is going to get a little weird for me. I get my teaching schedule around, I think the 5th or the 6th. And the thing is, either that or around the 9th or 10th. But that's if they haven't sent it already to me, and I haven't checked my email. But basically, I'm going to be teaching. I don't know if it's going to be 5 or 6 days of the week, but if it's 7, we're definitely going to have to schedule not 7, but if it's 6 days, we're definitely going to have to schedule a stream at some point in there. Like, my hope is that it might be a bi-monthly thing where every 2 weeks I can maybe stream on this channel. So we're going to be getting back into more videos soon, as I'll be editing some of the audio and sending it to Dan, and Dan will then edit it, well, put in the visuals, and thus we'll return to a bit of an old schedule, and we're then going to hopefully squeeze in a stream or a couple. But after the next video, which I'm hoping will be this week, I'm hopeful that we could maybe slip in at least one video for Once and Always a Ranger. And I'm hoping we're going to do maybe an unedited raw review of it, and then maybe we'll do a stream discussing it. I think that would be the best way to go, and where this way you guys could tell us what you think of our thoughts, and we can kind of have this honest discussion back and forth between everyone. Yeah, mine is one of my favorite seasons from that movie was Golden Buddy. Yeah, they lied to Catherine Sutherland that she wasn't being replaced along with Johnny and Nakia. Yeah. That's the thing. Saban has some really mean and dishonest tactics and abusive treatment towards their actors. I mean, David Yost for one thing and GDF for another. Those two got so much abuse when they shouldn't have. Excellent work, guys. This was very informative. I got answers I never could. Good thing I found this channel. Oh, well, thank you, Revo. Bear in mind, not everything has been confirmed or anything. It's just theories. We love theories and whatnot. And we try to analyze this like we do Tolkien's literature in terms of metaphysics and psychology, as Tolkien has his Nature of Middle-earth book where he gets into all that. And Howard did the same thing for Conan the Barbarian. So we're trying to bring this kind of intellectual approach to Power Rangers as best we can, and try to encourage discussion and whatnot. And yeah, if it helped and it made some things click into place and helped you get some good ideas on and answer some questions you might have had, then we're all for it, and we've done our job, and we're very glad to have helped you. So thank you very much for your kind words, Revo. We really appreciated your presence here. I would just like to add the scene of Tommy versus Bull, Calamity, Kimberly. Look closely. Tommy had a hint of evil Green Ranger in his eyes. Go watch that scene. Well, I'd say it's more mischief. Like, Tommy does have a mischievous side. He's very mischievous. He's fun. Lydia analysis. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you. We'll try. We'll try.
We enjoy that.
Yeah. The next stream will hopefully be, like I said, the Once and Always a Ranger, because it merits a good video and stream. So yeah, maybe we'll just do a raw. But if we do a raw, unedited analysis, we're probably not going to put flashy images in. It might be a still image and us discussing back and forth with our avatars just there. And the reason I'd want to do it that way would be more. That way we get a good hour in, and it'd be easier given my work schedule and Dan's work schedule.
Yeah.
Because we're both going to be pretty busy around that time. But my hope is to get back to, but most of the videos, the shorter videos of 10 to 20 minutes and whatnot, will be thoroughly edited and vetted and put together and whatnot. So never fear on that one. We're going to try to keep up the good content on that one. And maybe in a while, if we get monetized, maybe I'll take the monetization money and put that to a video editor. That's why in Zeo, I'm gonna introduce a girl named Haley who's known to him. I don't think Haley and Tommy should be a thing. I like their friendship, but to each their own.
Yeah.
So good luck with your story, Austin McNeil. We do like to hear about it. So best of luck with the writing, and remember, Rangers,
May the power protect you.